Namaskar. Thank you, Jose, and good day to all of you. So I was listening carefully to the speakers that spoke before me, and I was quite fascinated on how water was at the center of many of your speeches, and how water is becoming a sort of a thermometer or a litmus paper of how well or badly we are dealing with climate change and so sustainability. I mean, climate change was often perceived wrongly, of course, as something far away to come and something that would mostly affect, I would say, the lower strata of our, in terms of income, of our population. So so people who could afford a good AC or would live in in affluent neighborhoods or not live in precarious shelters would not see climate change coming very quick and very often. This is not the case anymore. We all witnessed what happened unfortunately in Bengaluru just 2 weeks ago, where people living in one of the most posh neighborhood in town, in Epsilon, had to move to hotels for a week or two because their houses got flooded. We heard what my colleague Akim Buchart said about what happened in Germany, one of the most affluent country in Europe, to Bonn. And even my own experience, before arriving in Bengaluru, I was serving in Cape Town. That was considered the pearl of Africa in terms of tourism, the vineyards, the quality of life, and a lot of people from all over Africa were buying second homes to spend their quality time in South Africa in this magic Cape Town place. And then 4 years ago, after 2 years of no rain in winter, tragic happened, and oh, I see the time running. And then, like from one day to the other, the pools were emptied, the water was rationed, you couldn't take more than 1-2 minute showers, of course no bathtubs, and even you were advised to flush your toilet maximum once a day, which means tourists flew away, business flew away, protests in the streets, prices of the house dropped, a big crisis. And that happened in like 2-3 months. So this is starting to arrive and is starting to biting also to the feet of affluent people, which in a way I hope it will speed up the reaction to climate change. But anyway, after this was not planned, but was just reflecting on what I've heard so far. I'm here to represent what you see in the back, Italy in Bengaluru. You were probably wondering, is there an Italian consulate in Bengaluru? Well, now there is, or there will be very soon. I've been sent here a few months ago to open the Consul General. It will be in the center in Trinity Circle. We will open early next year, and I will try, because as of now I'm by myself, but to bring here, of course, to connect, to bring consular services here, to connect trade, culture, but also to showcase what excellences Italy has. One of those excellences is also sustainability. So we have been very good in waste management, in particular in the last 10 years. The European Union set a goal to collect 65% of waste by 2025 to recycle it. We somehow managed to arrive at almost 80% of this figure. And so now, we may be surprising for many of you, and maybe for many of my also compatriots, stays first in Europe in terms of how much we recycle in the both in industrial and in domestic, let's say, waste. We are quite strong in renewable energy, which traditionally in Italy has been hydroelectric, but more and more we turn into solar, wind, etc. And now also, let's say, related to our GDP output, we are the first country in Europe in, let's say, share of renewable energy over gross consumption per home. We said that we are good in renewables, and again, for maybe surprise of some of you, the biggest private operator in renewable energy in the world is Italian. The name is Enel. They have around 50 gigawatt of installed capacity. They are, of course, present in India, and guess where their control center is? Of course, in Bengaluru. We are trying to be very good also in efficiency of resource uses. Maybe this comes from the fact that just 100 years ago we were still quite a poor country. So, you know, we would my grandma would say, but in general, we would be very attentive not to waste anything. So our industries are very good at not wasting much materials. And so on a scale made by the European Union of 300, I don't know why this number, but that it is, we stand at 268 in terms of how little we use in terms of inputs to produce our output. I was mentioning before the recycling, maybe a data that I forgot, is that 50% of the raw material that we use for production are coming from recycled material. So again, an economy that tends to be very green. We have over 350,000 companies that work in, well, here they say bioproducts. I would rather say, maybe it's a wrong translation, organic products. So we are the first in Europe on per capita share of turnover over the organic food industry. So we have a lot of denomination of origins, etc. And the organic food industry is the biggest in Europe compared to the ratio of the people. But how do people perceive climate change as a threat? I was very pleased to read this poll done in 2021. Well, probably now after the invasion, I guess that what was the least concerning cause probably gained some position, but still, climate emergency was the first threat that people perceived as national security in Italy. Just 4 or 5 years before, the first one was migratory flows. So people, and then of course the pandemic. So you see how just 1 year ago, climate emergency was first and then followed by the pandemics. Again, maybe now Russia has become a little bit bigger, but still that was important. Usually, you know, there's always this debate about sustainable growth and real growth. Like how can you fix the environment and not hamper growth? But you know, Italian people still thought that the first priority was to do everything possible to combat climate change instead of prioritizing economic growth. And what do we do also to make this like a long-lasting, you know, perception in our citizens? We were the first country in the world 3 years ago to include sustainability into our mandatory curriculum for kids in school. So I don't know how well this is done, but now they have 1 hour per week of mandatory sustainability in their program. So this was at the Italian level. At the Ministry of Foreign Affairs levels, we have many initiatives. One that I wanted to quote very quickly is this Freedom that we have partnered with. Freedom is an Italian startup born in Florence in 2010. It was the first world platform that enables you to adopt or to plant a tree anywhere in the world where you want. And they've been planted more than 3 million trees. Actually, yesterday night I checked and it was 3,300,000. So you can plant a tree through this Italian application. But what are we doing at the Indian level? Of course, we are here, and probably you expect that Italy exports a lot of the famous 3 Fs: furniture, food, fashion to India. But this is not the case again, because most of our exports is made with precision mechanics and advanced manufacturing, followed by chemicals, pharmaceutical, etc. So it's more into the machines. And we have hundreds of companies registered in India, around 600, of which more than half have more than half of Italian capital. So I was thinking of who to quote, and then I thought, let's go to maybe one sector, automotive, and something quite recent. So just 2 days ago, Iveco, which is the main builders of truck in Italy, signed a partnership with Blue Energy Motors. They're going to produce liquefied natural gas engine-powered trucks in Pune, and these trucks produce 30% less of carbon emissions. It's a first drop in the sea, but it's an important collaboration that will contribute in this way. And also in automotive, you have, well, the next slide, again, I put this together yesterday. I'm not very proficient in PowerPoint, but of course, you've seen some of the Piaggio autos around. They are electric powered, at least the latest one. Lambretta is another brand you must be familiar with. Lambretta in particular has been bought by an Indian investor in the 70s and then by a Dutch investor, but still it's an Italian present, and this model is the electrical model that is going to get out next year. But what you see down left, and Jose is smiling, is a high-performance race motorbike produced by Energica, which is a brand that is in the Italian Motor Valley near Modena, where you have your Ferrari, Lamborghini, Ducati. They're all concentrated in a very small little valley. So I was approached through actually Mr. Jacob by a very big Indian manufacturer of motorbikes. I'm not going to tell the name for privacy, but you might guess. And they are flying next week to Italy to see potential partnership with Energica to mass produce Indian motorbikes with electric engines. So I think that there's a lot of potential for Italy and India to collaborate. I'll be here for the next 4 years to try to improve on this. Thank you, Jose, again for the invitation. Thank you, all of you, and again, namaskar.